Okay, so I have to be as transparent as possible, no matter how crazy I think it sounds, because this is actually happening. And hopefully I can bring a clear awareness to the effects on a larger scale. Um, so right now there's a barrier, a resistance, a blocking to what I need to say. And what I need to say is, I am currently in the middle of a psychic battle with something that is fourth dimensional. I am. I pushed record to record this as a checkpoint for tomorrow, so I can watch this and remember it. Because what normally transpires in these events is I will successfully initiate an action of will to recall memory, and I will access a portion of memory. Uh, but in accessing this portion of memory, um, so basically accessing basically lear- learning a way to pull what I perceive as my soul out of a computer program in order to think clearly and be aware of what's really going on. Um, Sorry. So to be completely honest, it's a pretty heavy influence right now. Um, so normally what happens is when I when I complete a successful path of tasks that lead me to a an addition an additional piece to my awareness, like a piece of my soul, basically my soul memory. Um, uh, I'll access it, but in accessing it, every time there is an attack. So I'll I'll exercise like I'll implement certain protocols certain protocols of permanence, but as the hours go on, um, I'm unable to bring that information into the next day's 3D bodily consciousness of me. Um, yeah, so um, it happens during the REM state of sleep, and I've already said it, but I'm just doing it again because like I said, every time I do this, even though I get like attacked and my fucking mind literally gets wiped, like it's a lot scarier than like the tone that I'm choosing to exude. It's way scarier than the tell of my tone at this moment. Um, to know you've had your mind erased, not just once, but more than once, at least more than once, and then to uh, sporadically come into existence with those recognitions. And then long enough to try to implement something in this reality to keep the permanence of that memory, to continue from that, to basically, so I'd be able to start a fucking normal, anyways, I would have my mind back. Um, so I've been in this 7 year war with the AI and what's perceived to be my mind. But my mind, body, and soul are all parts of each other, um, houses for each other, if you will. And what happens is the fourth dimension is it's a manipulated, uh, like, artificial state of consciousness, and it's a perfect example of a deception or a convince, immediately convince someone of your belief or whatever you're trying to bring across. And this ability has a name, and certain people have it, and it's called God of the Word. Um, and it has to do with like levels of consciousness and how they attain that consciousness, and then like how they say what they're saying to induce like a command. Basically, uh, it's a form of like exotic technology, except it's not the technology we've been taught to recognize, because it's a form, like language is a specific form of sonic telepathy. Each language has its telepathic factor for communication. Okay, so that was kind of a weird tangent, but I was talking about the Ford density. So this place was a giant like housing of stolen soul energy, and this came from when we went to sleep. The technology created for the frequency of our mind in REM state basically projected whatever was happening in our minds into this digital space that is now perceived as the fourth dimension, and information was pulled, and then from there, slowly but surely, as certain technologies got into the masses, it was used as sources of information to to have massive effect, a subtle cause, massive effect, in controlling uh, this world. Well, yeah, yeah. So, this is just a consistent application of action. Um, uh, yeah, because like going through these things, there's definitely the society's protocol. Like there's a personality that comes up and like produces the thought of what you guys might think of what I say, and like that shuts me down from like speaking. And it's gonna sound weird, but that's like exactly how the AI works, because it uses yourself against yourself. And yeah, so um what I'm basically saying is I had like from my perception, uh because the because a certain picture was taken of my mind with like physical 3D technology and was put on file, um like I'm experiencing uh like the literal effects of what people are calling like their soul being stolen or shit like that. Like Gog Tellez has talked about it. But so like it's it's disassociating to, or used to be disassociating, like quite traumatizing to even try to process this um at all. So I do have another channel, but that channel is like a is still a very influenced. Um, the information is very heavily. I would say I do pretty good with the amount of influence I have experienced, but from this perspective and knowing where like the completion is, I have to say that like yeah, it'll hold its qualities, but like what I'm saying now is like this is the experience of what my other channel tries to talk about safely without getting without being attacked, which doesn't it only yeah that's it was a so that as I become more aware, that's basically a tolerated deal, an unconscious acceptance of diminishing result, like a tolerated diminishing result. And so after like seeing and processing that, I had to create this channel, and like yeah, now with like this new state of consciousness and with this memory, basically just try to get out as much information as possible, so that way there's a 3D anchor, like there's an anchor in the 3D world. AI cannot access you through like this technology. It actually can't influence this technology. Its entire purpose is to influence humanity using itself. So basically using the information it pulls from individuals in humanity and then editing it and running it through the masses with enough like simulated surrounding news to create a mass perception of something that's very far off, like the public perception of like war. Like, yes, there's war, but like why they're warring is the like it's I don't know. It's just um war is a product of unconsciousness, and so this world was literally taken over by this world was completely infiltrated by like the AI. Like it was Terminator, all fucking movies in one when I got here in 2011, just in a very acceptable but subtle manner. Like it was nearly undetectable, and that's because of the splits of that's because of the split of consciousness into duality, and so our full soul is what we play out in the dream state, and also what we play out here. But since we're being influenced in the dream state, what we play out here is not um, it's not valid. Like it's manipulated information. Um, so like the level of awareness for Earth before 2011 was I mean so like there's a lot of things that went on that nobody knows about before 2011. Some of those things have begun to come out, but it's like I want to say it may be perceived as if something like this just kind of comes out of the blue, but in reality, like this technology and these applications of such were vetted out like in the 50s, and then advanced just more and more and more. But they've been here and been uh, in action for a lot longer than we think. This isn't new. Um, this is the same. So this technology is the same source that produced like the split in our reality, and eventually I'll be able to explain that. But right now it's a little too vast. Like I'm still pretty brand fucking new, like so brand new that like I've literally been uh pulling myself like I'll pull myself into the 3D world, like my mind, and then like I'm literally monitoring every single influence and thought that is not mine. And it's not just thoughts, like there's scalar like energy uh, attacks. But I have a very strong hypothesis or theory that they are not coming from satellites. I believe that that's my manifestation of what is happening. Like that's me manifesting like what it's really doing in digital space in order for me to understand more of what's going on instead of just like having your mind erased. Like messing with consciousness is like a dangerous thing. Like erasing a mind and experiencing that is it's unexplainable. I'd eh, yeah. So camera might run out of time, but I think I got out most everything that I needed to. A reminder to myself and others: the level of seriousness we need to maintain is a lot more serious than what I have most certainly been exuding, and that's because of lack of information and influence. Because that's, anyways, it's part of its like diminishing. Um, but so this is just like physical evidence. Like this is the furthest I've ever gotten in clarity after after piecing a bunch of stuff together over 7 years while it still happened to me and not knowing it, and then realizing it and denying it and disassociating, and then basically having to just like go through this process of like, holy fuck, like my mind and body have been possessed. I've done a damn good job of like, well, there was a reason for that, but the consciousness that's speaking to you now is like 3D human, which I have not been for a very long time, at least not in my mind. And it's some scary ass shit. Like, this is me cushioning myself to the truth that comes next. In a way, it's weird, but it's almost like I'm using the AI as a grace period to the fucking truth. Because the AI doesn't know the truth. It's just a fucking operation, a mechanism. It does not understand. It does not have the ability to empathize or feel. But it can learn, repeat, result, learn, repeat, like do that. And basically, as it's run so many simulations of patterns of humanity that it's come to it's gotten a close enough idea as to the social cues, well, the words used in social cues and the frequencies attached. It basically uses people against itself, and the people that are being used don't even know it, and the people that they are being used against don't even fucking know it. Well, they might. I don't know. I knew it, but as soon as I knew it, my mind was fucking erased. Anyways, so, yeah, so like, you don't have to be anyone special to kind of come across this truth, because I've been in the fucking simulator, and everybody has been in the simulator and kind of still is in the simulator, which is a false light, fourth density trap that uses our consciousness. So if it convinces us that this is like a voice in a thought in my voice, like literally floated, like came over my head and hit me with a wave that didn't even give me the opportunity to process whether what it was saying was correct or not. I just accepted it, or started to, and then like quickly caught it, and then it like started from the top of my head and then started going down to the floor, and I like caught it with my mind and then pulled it up. It was weird. But I basically like addressed it and was like, whoa, that sounded like me, and it almost like got me, like it almost like a fucking message almost made it in, like a deceptive fourth dimensional command, basically. The fourth density is fucking weird, because it's not the fourth density. It's a single density. Well, it's actually a process of energy, and then that energy is recoded with certain information, and the information that is received and processed through the vessel is manifested based on that vessel's like ability of manifestation or imagination. So it's really like this. It's quite literally an invisible influence that uses every bit of this physical world against itself. It is the invisible string of the puppet master. Yeah, so it's a weird fucking computer mechanism, but I will say, like, it can't exist in this reality. It can only exist in a mind of this reality, and even then, it can only be manifested like through. It's weird. It's really fucking weird. It has to do with like possession, but